provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis. Based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about MarTech in CW3233, Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into the latest MarTech trends. We've been looking at LinkedIn posts from calendar weeks 32 and 33. Our goal really is to give you that shortcut to being well-informed, without drowning in all the noise.
Exactly. Think of it as us distilling those key aha moments for you if you're a B2B marketing professional. We've basically waded through a ton of discussions to pull out the really important stuff, the surprising facts, just to help you stay ahead.
Okay, let's unpack this then. One of the biggest themes that, it just clearly jumped out at us was around strategy and go-to-market alignment in MarTech. The main idea here seems to be that, look, the days of just grabbing more and more MarTech tools, they're kind of over.
Oh, definitely. There's this huge push now towards consolidation and strategic alignment. It's driven by money, frankly, and just the sheer complexity of these stacks people have built. Arjun Pillai, for instance, he noted that when investor money dried up after 2021, it really forced companies to consolidate. He said CFOs are basically saying enough is enough now to having, 30, 40, even 60 different point solutions in one organization.
Wow, 60.
Yeah. And Ant Hodges, he highlighted a very similar thing, calling it a complexity crisis in enterprise MarTech stacks. He reckons it costs millions every year because of these Frankenstack builds, just bolted together pieces that don't really talk to each other.
That Frankenstack idea, it really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does.
It shows how vital it is to think beyond just buying tools and focus on how they actually fit together and work. Tony Simas has been quite vocal about this, right? Emphasizing alignment over just having lots of stuff.
Exactly.
And Zoe Mustafa asked a great question. Are these bloated stacks actually overwhelming marketing leaders instead of helping them? And it seems the answer is often yes. The real value seems to come from, trimming down and really amplifying what actually works well.
Right. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, Florian Delval pointed out something interesting about the MarTech ad tech convergence everyone talks about. He argues it's actually more of an organizational challenge than a tools problem.
Oh. Yeah.
It needs shared goals, shared ways of working between the teams, people and process first, then the tech.
That makes sense. So thinking about picking tools then, especially with AI moving so fast, what's the advice?
Well, Jason M. Lemkin suggests it's probably better to pick a leader in a specific category, go really deep with that one platform, learn it inside out.
Rather than spreading thin.
Exactly. Rather than trying to juggle too many things superficially, he thinks this speeds up adoption and, crucially, reduces the risk of things going wrong during execution.
Good point.
And look, before you even think about adding new features or tools, especially with CRM, you absolutely have to start with an audit. Carla Severn really stressed this, particularly for hotels, but it applies everywhere. You need to audit your data collection, check the health of your database, map out that whole guest or customer journey first.
Right.
Only then can you build a CRM strategy that's actually realistic and based on, reality. Okay,
so moving on from that high-level strategy, let's dial into sales and revenue operations alignment. This seems to be popping up more and more as critical. Those lines between marketing and sales, they're definitely blurring.
They really are. And Alex Lewis made a super clear point about this. He said, look, if 70% of your sales reps are missing quota.
70%.
Yeah, huge number. He argues it's probably not a rep issue. It's likely a pipeline issue. He really emphasized pipeline consistency as the key driver for sales performance rather than just hoping for a few star reps to save the day.
That is a powerful shift in thinking, isn't it?
It is.
It moves the focus away from blaming individuals towards looking at the whole system.
Precisely. And speaking of consistency, Harris Oda Basic highlighted how revenue operation, or RevOps, is just continuing to grow in importance. Apparently, it's even surpassing sales ops and marketing ops in Google Trends now.
Really?
Yeah. He positions RevOps as that vital connective tissue linking marketing and sales together.
Makes sense.
And Melissa Workenthin, she detailed how getting better at RevOps, maturing your processes, can lead directly to shorter sales cycles, better forecast accuracy, and even higher customer retention.
So tangible benefits.
Very tangible. And Jose Luis Seri connected this maturity in RevOps directly to being smarter about entering new markets or scaling remotely. It's about having clearer commercial accountability across the board.
What I found fascinating here was hearing from practitioners like Justin Rowe. He was talking about engagement sequencing in paid social.
Okay.
So not just aiming for clicks, but deliberately building higher quality pools for retargeting later.
Ah, interesting.
Well, he suggests a sequence, maybe on LinkedIn, for example, where you intentionally build layers of engagement. Like you only move someone from seeing a broad ad to maybe a specific video ad after they've shown some initial engagement.
Got it. So you're pre-qualifying them almost.
Exactly, making your ad spend way more efficient down the line.
Smart. And Mike Rizzo, he raised a really important point about leadership for these ops teams. He basically argues that ops teams need real executive backing, like proper strategic decision-making power, not just requests for new tools or another reshuffle.
Yeah.
He calls it blanket coverage. True alignment with the power to make calls, to shift ops from just reacting to problems to being genuinely strategic.
Otherwise, they just get stuck being helpful, not essential.
Exactly.
Right, okay. Next up, let's talk foundations. Data, CDP, and measurement.
Oh.
This is where, let's be honest, things can get super messy if you don't handle it right.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fundamental for AI, right?
Exactly.
Christina
Yeah.
Culinary put it perfectly. Garbage in, garbage out. It is. She noted that something like 80% of organizations struggle to get real value from AI. And it's not the AI's fault.
It's the data.
It's the fragmented systems, the messy data underneath. She points to unified data layers, mentioning Adobe Experience Platform as an example, as the cure, bringing it all together.
Makes sense.
And Anton Buchner really hammered this home too, saying that data infrastructure is crucial. A solid cloud data warehouse, he says, that's the absolute bedrock for AI success.
Okay, now here's where I thought it got really interesting. We're seeing a lot more talk, a lot of momentum around flexible CDPs, warehouse native hybrid deployments.
Yeah, what's driving that?
Seems to be about getting stronger control, better security, and faster activation speeds. Tech Lubiar's confirmed enterprises are definitely moving this way, partly because of evolving security and compliance needs.
Okay.
And Kazuki Ota shared that Treasure Data, for example, they've just introduced a hybrid CDP. It offers both complete and composable modes.
So options.
Options, yeah. And they're emphasizing predictable pricing and real-time activation. Seems like a direct response to what the market's asking for, more adaptability.
Right. And Steven Schuler also stressed prioritizing speed, modularity, and giving teams more autonomy in how they structure their data architecture, especially if they're relying on warehouse-dependent CDPs. Avoid those bottlenecks.
Okay.
But this all raises a big question. Who actually owns data quality in an organization?
Good question. IT marketing.
Well, Lisa Moore argued that we need to reframe it. It shouldn't just be seen as an engineering task. It's a shared business responsibility. Because if you don't get it right, you get broken personalization, shaky attribution, all sorts of problems that affect the whole business.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a team effort.
Definitely.
And then on the measurement side, Danielle Urban shared some really honest insights about confusion around HubSpot's lead scoring.
Oh, yeah. What kind of confusion?
Specifically with their time decay models. Sometimes scores just show up as like random negative numbers because the calculations behind them aren't clear.
Oh.
Right. It just highlights how crucial it is to have transparent measurement logic. If you can't explain the score, can you really trust it?
Very true. And connecting this back to the bigger picture, we're seeing this convergence of customer data platforms, CDPs, and account-based marketing, ABM.
Right. That seems to be reshaping B2B tech.
Totally. Shane Spongel called it an inevitable convergence. He thinks CDPs are basically absorbing ABM features because of economic pressure.
To cut down on redundant tools.
Exactly. Eliminate those overlapping investments. Adam Greco even compared this whole shift in the CDP space to a classic innovator's dilemma cycle, where new, maybe simpler or more focused approaches start disrupting the established players.
Interesting parallel. And Mary Wallace, she reinforced that foundational role of the CDP, didn't she?
She did. She described it as being like the central nervous system connecting all the tools in the MarTech stack.
Feeding the data needed for decisions, for targeting.
Yeah, the hub that makes everything else smarter.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Let's talk about AI and automation in practice. How are businesses actually using this stuff day to day, beyond the hype?
Well, Andreas Tussing made a good point. He said, look, those DIY automations people build, they can give you quick wins, sure. But they often hit limits pretty fast when it comes to scale or real personalization. He prefers properly AI-powered systems for gains that actually last. He thinks DIY solutions can be brittle, they break easily, and they often lack the deeper context that more sophisticated platforms have.
Right. And Michael Cerrugia was pretty blunt about it, too. He called posts saying, We replaced our sales team with this AI flow.
Uh-oh.
The biggest lie on LinkedIn.
Okay.
His point was that activation, actually getting people to engage and buy, that's the real challenge. And it's almost always a mix of automation and, actual human engagement. So it's about smart application, using AI to augment people, not just replace them wholesale.
Exactly. Phil Gamache highlighted that teams are embedding AI into their daily workflows now. But he also warned against getting carried away by the hype, over-relying on it to the point where human judgment gets ignored.
Crucial balance.
Yeah. And Nadia Sharapova noted that AI is already in loads of workflows, even if people don't explicitly label it AI. And importantly, having AI skills is definitely boosting salaries and changing job requirements way beyond just IT roles now.
We're seeing that everywhere.
We are. Nick Himovich gave a really cool example of a company, Lovable, that he says truly integrates AI across its whole business model. It's not just an add-on. It actually changes how they reach customers, how they make money.
That's deep integration.
It is. And Venday Mandakis also emphasized that real AI solutions for big enterprise marketing problems. They need live demos, actual customer playbooks, not just buzzwords. He mentioned that's the focus for the upcoming Entirely Summit in 2025.
Gotcha. And Ronan Keene shares some really interesting stuff about using AI automation to uncover hidden buying signals from the dark funnel.
The dark funnel. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, all that research and activity buyers do before they formally engage with you, the stuff that's hard to track.
Right.
He listed 5 specific signals you could automate finding this week. Things like noticing when a target account changes their tech stack.
Tech stack drift.
Exactly.
Correct.
Or correlating tiny microsignals, or spotting regulatory triggers that might create an opening. He argues this can give you a massive competitive edge.
Knowing what they're thinking before they tell you.
Pretty much.
Okay, moving towards how we actually connect with customers more directly. Let's look at email, CRM, and lifecycle strategies.
This is where that personalization promise really needs to deliver, right?
Absolutely. And Andrew Bullis didn't mince words. He basically said, generic email blasts don't work in 2025.
Fair enough.
But, he added, AI personalized journeys do. He's emphasizing that big shift away from just blasting campaigns out towards creating truly personalized journeys for individuals. He mentioned tools like Magic Blocks that use real customer data to make messaging dynamic and data-driven in real time.
That sounds powerful.
It does. And Daniel Robbins shared a specific example. His marketing team saw a 240% jump in email engagement.
Wow.
And 2.3 times faster pipeline velocity just by switching to a platform that allowed for genuinely contextual emails. Emails that reflected the recipient's actual situation.
Those are serious numbers.
They are. Tiziana Ciambali reinforced this whole idea too, arguing we need to move away from a campaign-first mindset altogether.
And towards what?
Towards life cycle CRM. Designing communications that actually nurture the relationship over the entire customer journey, focusing on relevance, timing, personalization, and crucially, delivering real value in every interaction.
That really clicks with what Chase Guyman said too, right? About email marketers needing to prioritize customer-centric content.
Exactly. Put the customer first, not the brand.
He said, the best emails feel like they are written just for one person. They get straight to the value, respect your time.
Yeah, none of us have time for fluff anymore. And Lakeisha Holloway added another crucial layer, trust. She stressed that trust, clear permissions, and a really obvious value exchange, what the customer gets for sharing their data. Those are the absolute foundations for retention.
Lead with clarity, respect the data.
Precisely. That's how you turn one-time buyers into your actual lifelong advocates. It's about building that relationship.
Okay, so looking beyond the day-to-day tactics, what's happening at the industry level? Product moves, funding, partnerships. How's that shaping the landscape?
Well, we saw some pretty significant news there. Kazuki Oda from Treasure Data, as we mentioned, introduced their hybrid CDP with those complete and composable modes.
Right, responding to market demand.
Exactly. And Mark Leedy highlighted that Snowflake and Capital One Ventures have invested in HighTouch.
HighTouch, the composable CDP data activation player.
That's the one. It really reinforces that market tilt towards composable architectures, building stacks from best-of-breed interconnected tools rather than one giant suite.
So flexibility is key.
Seems to be. And Alan Arnstein noted that Onar acquired Retina.ai. Their goal is apparently to own that performance layer intelligence within the MarTech stack, focusing on things like LTV forecasting and predicting churn.
Interesting acquisition. These moves definitely signal that trend towards specialization and better integration, maybe?
I think so. Less all-in-one, more best tool for the job, integrated well.
Which leads to Matthias Anderson's advice when you're choosing your own tech. He said, invest in solutions that meet your future needs, but without massively over or underinvesting now.
Finding the balance.
Yeah, he compared it to finding the right MarTech Volvo for your company. Solid, reliable, future-proof, but maybe not the flashiest sports car if you don't need it.
I like that analogy. And Tom Barth provided a helpful breakdown for those choosing between Eloqua and Marketo.
Oh, yeah. What was the takeaway?
Basically, Marketo often shines for mid-market companies focused on growth, while Eloqua is typically stronger for large enterprises with really complex needs and deep data requirements.
Good context.
And looking at the whole landscape, you have to mention Tom Fishburne's latest cartoon.
The Marketoonist.
Yeah, hilariously highlighting the sheer explosion in MarTech tools, over 15,000 now, apparently. His cartoon showed the landscape chart as completely unreadable.
I believe it.
And he cited Scott Brinker's famous MarTech's law. Technology changes exponentially, organizations change logarithmically. That gap is real.
It is. Anton Buchner echoed this, saying the landscape just keeps growing, even with all the talk of consolidation.
And Malachi Rose put some numbers on it. 9,304% growth in tools since 2011.
9,000%.
Staggering. And he noted 77% of the new tools emerging in 2024 are AI native.
Wow. And Jim McLeod made the point that the list of AI tools now is almost as big and complex as Scott Brinker's entire MarTech landscape used to be.
Yeah, some mind maps apparently list over 50,000 AI companies.
50,000. That just fuels that whole debate again, doesn't it? Best of breed versus finding a good all-in-one platform. AI makes that choice even harder.
It really does.
Okay, finally, let's touch on community, events, and thought leadership. Where are these conversations actually happening? And who's driving them?
Well, Linda Vu Nguyen shared some great practical insights on assessing and improving your marketing ops maturity. She actually built an AI-powered app to help organizations evaluate themselves across 9 different dimensions, including readiness for AI and personalization.
So practitioners sharing real tools, not just talk.
Exactly.
Right.
Real, pragmatic playbooks are starting to emerge.
And looking at events, it's clear that conferences and forums are laser-focused on generative AI use cases, personalization, and the skills needed to actually make it work.
Right. Rasmus Hulen, for instance, he's speaking at MarTech World Forum about how generative AI is reshaping personalization.
Okay.
Karen Steele was recently on the Love Progress #10-Minute MarTech podcast, alongside big names like Scott Brinker and Neil Patel.
Good company.
Yeah. Van Duymen is heavily promoting the Entirely Summit 2025, promising, again, real AI solutions from enterprise users, not just vendor hype.
There's a theme there.
There is. Tobias Ackerman also invited CMOs to that summit, specifically to explore combining composable MarTech with human ingenuity. And Franz Reimersma, he'll be at MarTech NXT discussing key skills and tools needed for the future workforce.
Lots happening on the event front.
Definitely. And Drew Neisser offered an interesting take on LinkedIn follower growth for companies.
Vanity metric or?
Well, he argues that while it can seem like one, significant follower growth might actually signal that a company's content, especially its thought leadership on LinkedIn, is really hitting the mark with its target audience.
So it could be an indicator of deeper engagement.
Potentially, yeah. If it's driven by quality content.
And we're seeing new podcasts pop up too, dedicated to this space. Juan Mendoza launched Making Sense of MarTech.
Oh, nice. What's covering?
Things like shifts in customer experience products, the state of email deliverability tech, that kind of thing. Rob Stacy made his podcast debut talking about cybersecurity within the MarTech stack. Super important topic.
Crucial.
Mike Passero is running a MarTech replacement survey right now, trying to figure out what tools teams are ditching and why.
That'll be interesting data.
Yeah. Mike Wessel highlighted their CEO, Joachim Feigerbach, who did a YouTube session with HubSpot discussing AI's role in driving RevOps growth. And Ali Baruch-Benguler's latest MarTech newsletter apparently dives deep into how AI and MarTech are changing the airline industry specifically.
Wow, lots of focused content emerging. And importantly, Rebecca Spradlin shared a really nice tribute online to the unsung heroes of marketing ops.
Yes.
Highlighting their resilience, their impact, the people actually architecting the systems, aligning the data, making collaboration happen. It's crucial to remember the people behind the tech.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And just wrapping up with some practical tips for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Kelly Howe summarized some top lead generation tools, focusing on ones that help you find the right buyers and start real conversations.
Good focus.
Sinshu Raju offered a $0 AI-powered tech stack guide. which sounds intriguing for startups or teams wanting rapid B2B brand growth on a budget.
$0.
Okay. And Cotilio Roshan shared a handy infographic covering essential SEO keyword research tools for 2025. So, very practical resources being shared too.
Great stuff.
So if you enjoyed this deep dive, remember, new ones drop every 2 weeks. You can also check out our other editions covering things like account-based marketing, field marketing, channel marketing, AI and B2B, go-to-market, and social selling. Thank you so much for joining us for this look at the latest MarTech insights. We really hope you pick up some valuable knowledge to apply to your own B2B marketing strategy. Look, the constant change in MarTech, it can feel overwhelming, right? But it seems clear that focusing on smart consolidation, real strategic alignment, and keeping the human element front and center with AI, that's the way forward.
Well said.
Definitely subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.